All right, I ask that everyone put your cell phones to mute, if you would, please, so we aren't interrupted during our meeting. Commissioners, turn your microphones on. Don, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Good deal. Time being 6 o'clock, I will call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dan,
Here.
Wanda,
Here.
Joe,
Here.
Don,
Here.
Sherry.
Here. Item number 3, does any commissioner have a reason to abstain for a financial or a non-financial conflict of interest?
I have none.
No.
No.
I have none.
I have none. Item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox, to approve the agenda as presented. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Now is the time for public comment. Would anyone care to make a public comment? There being none, public comment is closed. Item number 5 is approval of minutes from March 15th of 2021. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
Kettering second.
Motion by Fox, second by Kettering to approve the March 15th, 2021 minutes. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Are we going to do the minutes of our strategic planning? Are we going to do that at the next meeting?
I don't recall ever approving minutes from a strategic planning.
I don't
That we
believe we
usually
have.
do, but that's
Nope,
not-
I
not an
don't
issue.
recall ever doing that. So item number 6, we'll start with claims. I did have one comment. Under the Department of Equalization, there is a mental illness hearing for Lincoln County.
That was, we found that and it was changed.
Okay.
Not in time for the,
Not for the packet. Okay, just wanted to make that comment. And notice there is one printed claim in front of you as well, and that will be included in the motion to approve claims. Any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve claims.
So
Kettering.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Kettering to approve the claims as presented. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. We are now at March payroll.
Move approval of payroll.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Clemish to approve the March payroll. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. We have an application, or I guess a petition for a Bird Dog Drive Road District.
Where's this one at, Mike? Bird Dog Road? Are you aware?
It's a brand new development. Are there any questions on the petition presented?
I don't believe so. Patty, your office checks the petitions and the signatures and all that.
and then
So
we'll have an option for them to vote on.
So you need a motion to approve the petition to establish Bird Dog Drive Road District.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Clemish, to approve the petition to establish Bird Dog Drive Road District. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Unanticipated grant revenue.
And that is, we had the grant for the Boy Scout camp out.
Mhm.
And the bill was in the claims this time, and we just putting the money back into for the budget.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Clemish, second by Healy, to approve the unanticipated grant revenue for the Boy Scout shelter in the amount of $235,310.56. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. That concludes item number 6. We are at now really ahead of schedule. It's supposed to be at 6:20. Bruce Cole, I've been told, is going to speak on the Second Amendment resolution. And turn the microphone on. Perfect, thank you.
Does that work? Okay.
Yes,
First of
thank
all,
you.
thank you, Commission, for allowing me to be here and speak to you on this very important issue. I was asked to speak about this, which I think all of us have had the opportunity to see what's been happening. And first of all, I want to extend an apology because I think a lot of you didn't have the correct one, and I believe you all do now. It's one page, and you should have it in front of you now. Does anybody not have it? Okay. I spoke to the state's attorney today, went over this with him. I've spoken with the governor's attorney, and the previous ones were not acceptable by myself nor a lot of, other people due to the fact that they were trying to trump a federal law. This is basically declaring Yankton County to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county, and it is a resolution to be passed if you so decide to do so. For those of you that don't know me, I'm not going to tell you my age, I'm old enough, but I grew up in the Yankton, born and raised here in this area. I've possessed a federal firearms license since 1984, and that's whatever that is, 37, 38 years. And I've over the course of that time come in contact with several of the people in here that are in support of this, and tens of thousands of people that have purchased firearms. This is basically a resolution that follows exactly what the state does. And if you look at paragraph 5, it actually gets into what the state just passed, which was, let me put my glasses on here, the resolution 607, which the South Dakota legislature just passed, which basically confers and is commensurate to that. So it's a very simple resolution. I think it sends a message. It was passed last week. Does anybody know for sure when it was in Pennington County? The state's attorney knew. I can't tell you the date, but Pennington County adopted this also. And I guess, it's pretty self-explanatory. If I can answer any questions, I surely would. I don't have all the answers, but maybe I can help anybody if you've got a question.
Any questions for Mr. Cole?
Good. How about the attorney?
I'm good.
All right. Thank you.
I'll move approval of the resolution.
I think we need to discuss this a little bit. If there's a second, I'll entertain a second.
I'd say
Second.
maybe we should see if we can get some public comment too.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second on the table. Motion by Kettering, second by Fox to approve the printed resolution that is in front of us at this time. And this was emailed to all of us this morning, I believe, if I'm correct on that. It is, from what I could tell, based on what Pennington County did. I did talk to a Pennington County commissioner a few weeks ago about that. That version is in your packet. There was another version that was an ordinance, and in your packet is what the state did as well. So before the commission discusses this, I do feel, Dan, you are correct. We need to take some public comment on this. So I will limit everybody to 3 minutes. If you'd like to come up to the podium and express your opinion, now is the time to do so. Would anyone care to come to the podium? And when you do, please state your name for the auditor.
Take your time if you want.
You got it? Thank you.
James Reinhardt. I really feel that this does need to pass through. We see a lot of our rights and freedoms being taken away from us throughout the country. I have served 26 years in the military. I deployed 4 times. I've seen what happens over in other countries firsthand. We've got to protect our Second Amendment rights. They're not for hunting. It's for a well-regulated militia to protect ourselves against tyranny, foreign and domestic. That's what this is for. South Dakota is an amazing state. We are doing amazing things here, but this starts at the county level. We have got to take charge, just like Pennington County. This has got to sweep the state, be all unified, and send a message to all of our representatives and our congressmen at the federal level that we are going to make a stand. And I firmly believe in the Constitution. This was put there for us as a right, a guarantee for us to protect ourselves. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other public comment at this time? All right, then, public comment is closed. We'll bring it back to the commission to discuss. Now, Deb, Mr. Cole said he talked to Rob. Did Rob talk to you?
So I had reviewed what was in the packet, which was the ordinance. And so I spoke to Mr. Clemish and told him, obviously, that wasn't what I thought was being presented or had been talked about.
State's Attorney Clemish, right?
State's Attorney Clemish. Sorry, Mr. Clemish. And so I did look at the Pennington County one, but because I don't think either Rob or I had this, I've not compared it to the Pennington County resolution that they did pass. And the English teacher in me would just note that on the bottom, there's a typo. So you want it to be a second amendment, not a second amendment. So I'm assuming someone will fix that. But so I do believe Mr. Call and Mr. Clemish, the state's attorney, did speak. And I don't know if they reviewed this exact copy or not. So maybe Mr. Cole can confirm whether or not Mr. Clemish saw this one. I did not see this till I walked in tonight.
Okay. Come on back up, please.
Yes, the state's attorney, Clemish, and I emailed this to him, the copy that you have now, the 1 page. We didn't look at any typos. None of us are English teachers, so you'll have to deal with that. But I guess I'm going to be on record. He said, I'm fine with this. It's a resolution. And that's must make a big difference, correct? Can I ask that of Wanda, Commissioner Fox? Isn't that correct? A resolution is much different than what you had before. This shows support of it.
It is
and-
different.
Right,
It's very different because the ordinance was asking for a penalty.
correct.
And obviously that's not something that I would recommend.
And that was the holdup from the governor's attorneys on down. So I think this is the strongest statement. And, you know, if he's not available, I mean, you can put me in jail for quoting him wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he says. I'm fine with it. It's a resolution.
Okay, thank you. Other discussion by the commission?
We got to uphold our Constitution, so.
You know, we had a resolution similar to this, maybe not the context, but a while back for local control, and you know, I supported that one. And it really went against my grain to support that. While I supported local control, in general, I'm not supportive of resolutions that simply reiterate, have no teeth to them, don't have any action to them. I absolutely support the Constitution. I support the Second Amendment. Passing this, to me, is nothing more than a political statement, and I don't believe the county commission is here to make political statements. We're here to run the finances of the county. Like I said, I support what's in this. I'm hesitant to support resolutions that don't actually do anything except for make political statements, and in turn require more work of the auditor. And, quite frankly, one of my concerns is we start going down this path, we're going to have a resolution either for or against abortion someday that has nothing to do with the county level. We're going to have a resolution for or against gay marriage or something that really is not controlled at all at the county level. And I guess for those reasons, I don't know that I necessarily support this resolution.
Other comments?
I would encourage people to continue to put pressure on their legislative representatives.
I'm ready to vote.
I'm checking the third paragraph. One question I do have is if we approve this tonight, can we make changes to it, like spelling, and there's a sentence that doesn't flow correctly? Because it was slightly different than Pennington County's. Can we make clerical changes to this if we approve it tonight, or would it be better to delay the vote on this and get this correct before we do it?
I would recommend it be correct before you approve or don't approve it. That's just me. I don't like doing amendments to resolutions because you would have to approve the amendments before you approved the resolution.
I move we table it till the next meeting so that these two issues can be cleaned up.
Is it table or continue?
Continue.
What do we want to change? I know the second on the bottom, but what else are we looking at?
So I'm going to read the
changes?
third paragraph to you. Whereas the right of the citizens to keep and bear arms for the is guaranteed as an individual right. And if you look at the Pennington County resolution, it reads, whereas the right of the citizens to keep and bear arms is guaranteed as an individual right under the Second Amendment.
Well, so why don't we just make a motion to approve it, and we could, with those corrections, and we can vote on it tonight, because I hate delaying these things for weeks and weeks at a time. We got a lot of people here. If we're all, people, those few changes aren't going to change how we vote. So if we do the correction of the spelling on second, and we cross out for the, then it should be good. So I guess if you want a motion, I'd move approval of the resolution with those corrections. Or
We have the original motion that Kettering made, Fox seconded to approve this as presented. And then we have a motion without a second to continue. So that one, there was no second, so that one we're going to let die. So at this point, if we want to proceed tonight,
I could move to amend the motion. with the
and that's,
corrections. So I guess I would move to amend the motion on the table with the corrections of the third paragraph, crossing out for and the, and then at the bottom, correctly spell the word second.
okay. Deb, did you see any other things? I didn't see any when I read it earlier.
I honestly just thought tonight.
Okay. So we have a motion to correct the resolution for grammatical errors.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
So, Commissioner Fox beat you to that, Don.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
You're gonna have
pretty
to take-
fast.
you're going to have to get the next one. So now we have a motion to amend the original motion. So let's vote on the amendment first. All in favor of amending the motion to insert the corrections, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. So now we are at the original motion to approve the corrected resolution. And then we will, before if it passes tonight, before I sign it, we will make sure we print it correctly. So at this time, is there any further discussion before I call for a roll call vote? Yes,
I'm sorry.
yep. So this is on the first motion that's been corrected. So let's go do a roll call vote, please.
Don,
Yes.
Wanda,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
No.
Sherry.
Yes. Motion passes 4-1. Thank you all for coming, if that's what you're here for. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to come. We are at item number 8, health insurance. Ms. Out.
Good evening.
Yes.
Okay, I have brought you, a little packet tonight. And this chart is probably the easiest thing to use to explain what's happening with the renewals. Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield has been the health insurance plan for the Yankton County for the past 4 years, going on 5. And last year, we offered 3 plans to your employees. And of those 3 plans, what the county decided to do was pay $693.15 for every plan that is offered to the county. Each employee had the opportunity to choose between the 3 plans, the HSA 5000, which was paid 100% by the county, the 2020 copay plan, which each employee kicked in $50.17 of their own money to help offset the price of the premium, and then the HSA $6,500 plan, where the county actually took the savings in premium and contributed to each employee's HSA. The other decision that was made for the county was that every single employee that hit their max out of pocket through their health insurance plan was given $750 into an HRA account, health reimbursement account, to help offset the increase in deductible. Okay, just to follow through, we had 47 employees choose to pay the extra $50.17 to have a copay on prescription drugs and a copay when you go to the doctor. 16 employees chose the fully paid for HSA plan through the county, and 28 employees chose the lesser option where the county actually contributed $40.68 to their HSA. 20 people in the county received $750 into an HRA in a form of a check at the end of the year because they actually hit their max out of pocket. So in theory, it was a savings. I mean, the dollars that you're spending was a significant savings, and the employees got a choice. And 47, like I said, half of the employees still chose the copay plan, and they were willing to pay for it. So, and last year that was different than this year, when I put out the renewal rates to competing companies, actually no one would give back a quote. They did not want, the claims history was high, so they were not willing to give a quote. This year, Avera and United Healthcare both responded. I'm still waiting for a quote from Medica. I didn't put the information to Sanford simply because we do not have a Sanford hospital in Yankton. So anytime anyone used the hospital, they would be out of network. So if you take a look, the renewal for Blue Cross Blue Shield was an increase of 4.27%. So the overall increase was 4.27%, but differed between each plan. So across the board, the $6,000 copay plan is actually an increase of $80.20. The HSA $5,000 renewal is $29.64. That's where the real cost would come to the county. If you stick with that, when you have a plan to choose from, you have to pick a plan that you're going to allow the dollars to be spent per plan. So that would be the $693.15 would go to $722.79. So that would actually increase the expense for Yankton County by $29.64. Because if you offset the differences to the employees, you're looking at an additional $80.20 per employee and an additional, instead of $40.68 being added to their HSA, they would actually only receive $12.32 in the differences, okay? So that's
If
well
we
marked.
remained at the 690.
If we remained at the 690, because of course we're asking them from last year's number.
Yeah.
So moving forward, okay? So it was exciting that we received quotes from Avera and United Healthcare simply because they were willing to quote, which means that we didn't have as many claims, which is exciting. That's great news. It's great news. It means people are healthier. The Avera plan, of course, is significant savings. Significant savings. If you take a look, there's savings across the board to offer an Avera plan to your employees. But once again, you are cutting your network in half. You do have significant number of employees using both the Avera network and the Sanford network, and they are actually traveling outside of South Dakota to receive healthcare needs, their healthcare coverage. So that's one area that you need to examine. The other is United Healthcare. United Healthcare, this is the first time in 4 years they've actually sent back a quote, and that quote is competitive. In comparison to the copay plan, which we call it the copay plan, where people are actually given a copay to go use at the clinic, the deductible is $1,000 less. The copay is less, $20 less. The urgent copay is $10 less. There's some benefits. But the big thing with United Healthcare, and I know a concern of the commissioners and employees, is explain to me what the network is, especially when you're talking about United Healthcare. And I'm not, you know from the past, I'm not a cheerleader for any company. I just want the best for your employees and the best for the county. But if you open up inside of your gray folder, there is and this was my biggest concern is the purple cover, this one right here, guys. This one. This is from United Healthcare, and this shows you how the networks overlap. And if you go to page 2, it looks like this. The blue being United Healthcare and the orange being Blue Cross Blue Shield. The blue actually, the orange and the blue don't cover 100%, but pretty close. And so what United Healthcare offers is they have in-network providers, and then they have in-network preferred providers. So there's savings if you use the preferred providers. I know it gets in the weeds. And this is where I'll probably request, like we did last year, for 2 of us to meet, or for us to meet and really get into this, because I think it's really important that we investigate this. I could be here for 2 hours explaining this. I have 300 pages. So if you look at the map of the greater Yankton area, Sioux Falls included, the the one in the corner. The blue is the United Healthcare, the gray is both, and basically they overlap each other darn near 100%. It's not 100, but close. And then if you keep folding through the pages, the biggest discrepancy I noticed was in allergy and immunology. Can't say all these words, but we're looking at a 42.9% of all physicians that offer it versus 50%. So they're, hospital is 100%. If they have an emergency situation, they're going to be in network. And that's where I see the biggest bills come, is when they go to a hospital that is not in network, and then they're paying out of network charges. So the coverage is something seriously to look at. There are significant savings to the county. If you compare the $5,000 HSA plan to last year's $5,000 HSA plan, we're looking at a cost of $693.15 that the county paid out of their pocket for the HSA plan through United Healthcare at $668.70, which is over last year a $10,385 savings to the county. So it is real money. And then if so that's the one you want to look at, simply because that's the price. But if you look down then at the Yankton County insurance expense and HRA at the bottom down here, I have figured what the real cost would be, adding in the expense of the HRAs, which we've already paid for this year, which you had 20 people hit their max out of pocket, which was a cost of $15,000 to the county. At this year's expense will turn out being $805,191 versus if we use the United Healthcare plan of $77,318. So it gets a little confusing because it's not actual renewal rates, it's what you designate that you're going to spend. And then the employees make up the difference. Does that make sense? Okay. Inside of your folders are something called summary of benefits. And if you want to take, nothing else to do, if you want to take every single health insurance plan that was quoted and was last year's plans in the front, Blue Cross Blue Shields, are in there. And the summary of the benefits is where your employees are going to look and see what their coverage actually is, what it entails. Okay.
So the actual claims are in here, you said?
Oh, no. The
Oh.
actual claims are in the renewal, which is, I'll send that all to you tomorrow. Do you want to know what the actual
Probably
claims are?
not, no.
We actually were behind again. We had more claims than actual premium dollars. But according to what Blue Cross Blue Shield told me, is that these diseases that have been treated, these illnesses are on the downside. So, you are getting, I hate to classify it, but less claims, which is good, which is a good thing. And once again, U.S. county commissioners have offered great coverage to your employees. And I wouldn't present something that I did not think was adequate. Any other questions?
Do you have a recommendation for us?
I will say this. I would like to, like we did last year, Sherry and I met.
Mhm.
I would like to meet and we can really talk about what you're looking for, but I think it is very important for the county to look at United Healthcare. I, in the past, have had coverage. It has been years, but it was I could go anywhere I want. It's very good nationwide coverage. And they have not offered a quote to Yankton County in the past. I've asked, and this is the first time I've actually gotten a quote in a timely manner. It was awesome.
Which meeting do we need to make our final decision in order for you to get, if we do switch? That's a
every-
big change.
I think if you decide to change companies, we need to really have this by May, the first week of May, because Your employees are going to have a lot of questions. They are, and I want to be able to meet with them, help them make a solid decision on which plan to choose from, and we need to have this in order by May 15th to have a June 1 start date.
Okay, so we have a meeting May 4th. That would probably be the meeting you'd like us to make a decision, because our next
Yes.
meeting is the 18th.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to target having a decision made by May 4th. So that's 4 weeks.
Mhm.
Am I reading this correctly that United Healthcare doesn't show any providers in Yankton? All
No,
up around Sioux Falls?
No,
in the
if you
little
look, there's a little shaded area, Wanda, Miss Fox, down in the corner. It's like a light gray. Maybe your copy isn't that good. But it covers Yankton County, Yankton, the surrounding area of Yankton. Absolutely.
I have white color.
It's white. Yes,
Okay.
yes, like a gray, sorry. Kind of like a, yeah, gray shade.
Did you by any chance ask United Health why the change in attitude?
Because your claims went down, and I think they're trying to buy business. I mean, they're coming after business. I mean, let's, you know, they want your business, just like every other company wants your business. And they looked at your risk, and it wasn't as significant as it was last year. So insurance it's based on risk versus premium.
As far as employees go, switching coverage providers, aside from relearning what may or may not be covered, there shouldn't be any issues transferring existing conditions or
Right.
any of that. You know,
This is
I'm
it.
currently being treated for something, you know,
Yes, oh,
today.
absolutely.
Okay.
And Joe, I completely understand that. I take care of service calls and that's the worst. I don't want that to ever happen to anyone. So Andy Carlson is here with United Healthcare. So could you answer that for me, Andy?
There would be no disruption in care. I mean, the network is a very comparable to Blue Cross Blue Shield. I mean, that's what United Healthcare, they're competing against Blue Cross Blue Shield. And the reason, like Julie said, we didn't get quotes the last couple of years is just because of claim. United Healthcare has been very, very level trying to get into the market. They haven't been very aggressive with the pricing. They've been very level with it because they don't want to come in and buy business and then give you a 50% increase next year. They're here for the long haul. So, and I work for a brokerage firm. I don't work for United Healthcare. We represent a number of companies, and I personally have United Healthcare. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of claims in my family, and we've had no issues with network at all. It's a national network. You don't need to get permission to go to see a Mayo Clinic. You can just go to Mayo Clinic. There's no gatekeeper to keep you back from that. So network wise, it's very, very good plan.
What was your last name again, sir?
Carlson, Andy Carlson.
Any other questions for either Julie or?
It's nice to have 3 different quotes.
I'm kind of old
Yeah.
school. I like to look at it. I like to have it in front of me.
No, this is very helpful. Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had asked Andy if he could put together a short list of folks in South Dakota that have used United Healthcare and visit with whomever, Patty and Karen or Sherry, and see if their experiences, if they were happy with the coverage.
Okay.
So,
Are you aware of any other counties that have that coverage of United Health?
Not currently. Not that I work with.
Okay.
There may be, but I'm not
Sure. Thanks.
it's an option.
Okay.
It's an option.
I know the biggest company in South Dakota that would offer most jobs as United Healthcare for the last 3 years. So been with United for 3 years.
And which company?
Largest employer.
Okay.
Can you say about half of our employees go to Sanford for coverage?
No,
Oh.
not half. There, you have,
We have.
yes,
Okay.
yes, you do. And they're being treated for serious illnesses.
Right.
So, yes.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll be happy to sit down with Julie
Very good.
again this year. And if any other commissioners want to sit in on that, you're welcome, one at a time with me. And I don't know if we can get it done before our next commission meeting, which is the 20th, but you check your schedule and I'm
Yes.
usually pretty flexible. so.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank
right.
you very much for your time and feel free to give me a call with any other extra
Don, are
questions.
you good?
Don, do you have any questions?
I'm good.
Okay,
All right, we've got a packet for you and we'll get that to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming. And we are past 6:30, so next on our agenda is Board of Adjustment. Entertain a motion to go into Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
Second,
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to enter Board of Adjustment. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. We are now sitting as Board of Adjustment. Item number 9, which was advertised for 6:30 and at 6:40, is Daniel Sweihart, conditional use permit. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir, and discuss your request.
Okay, well, good evening, Commissioners, and my name is Dan Sweihart, and I'm here with my wife, Kay, in the back. And we're requesting a conditional use permit for using 304 Gavins Point Road as a,
Dan, would you step a little closer to the microphone, please?
okay,
And you're free to
You
take
can-
your mask down while you're speaking in the microphone if you care to.
Yeah,
okay,
adjust the microphone.
You can do whatever you need with the mic, but yeah.
okay,
Yep, just
It
try to
makes- It
speak.
makes it a lot easier for those at home to hear, so.
all right,
Yep,
thank
go
you.
ahead. Thank you.
okay. So, again, my name is Dan Sweihart. Now what did I do?
No, that wasn't you.
Time's up.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead, sir.
I'm here with my wife, Kay, in the back, and we're requesting a conditional use permit for a house that we own at 304 Gavins Point Road for using as a vacation rental. And we went through the first meeting and talked about that we'd taken a look at some of the properties that were being advertised on VBRO and Airbnb. And it appears that that's pretty common taking place out by the lake. So we felt that that was probably a consistent use for what some of the properties are already being used for out there. So we would like to just ask permission to do that for this property.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Sweihart while he's here? All right, sir, we're going to have you sit down and we're going to open it up for public comment. Would anyone care to make a public comment on this conditional use permit application? There being no speakers, public comment is closed, and we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion.
Gary, do you remember the name? Not that it has anything to do with this particular one, but we did approve a CUP for something similar for Airbnb. I think using the bed and breakfast, if I remember right, but like 2 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like 2018, it was before my time.
But anyway, we
We have, yep, we have.
if anyone's wondering, because we don't have Airbnb as a
Yeah.
listed CUP, but
As the planning commission walked through their findings of fact for the ingress and egress, they stated that it exists. Off right-of-way parking and loading areas, they stated were not required. Refuse and service areas with particular reference to A and B, which is ingress, egress, off right-of-way parking. Refuse and service area present. Utilities are present. They did not require any screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, or character. Signs will be requested through planning if needed, so it does not sound like we have any signs planned at this time. Required yard exists in other open spaces, and they stated generally compatible and will not adversely affect public interest. So those were the findings of fact from the Planning Commission. Do we have any adjustments we feel we need to make to those findings? Or any additions? Well, at this time, I would entertain action.
I would move to approve the conditional use permit proposed.
Second.
I have a motion by Fox, second by Healy to approve the conditional use permit applications from Mr. and Mrs. Sweihart for Airbnb. There we go. I was going to say bed and breakfast, but that's probably not right. Further discussion at this time. Roll call vote, please.
Wanda,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Sherry.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you for sticking with us. At this time, entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to go back into regular session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. We are now setting in regular session. Item number 10, request for zoning enforcement. And this is a report from Mr. Vetter.
Correct. We have, we had 2 requests for zoning enforcements. The first one, you've had them all in your packet, and you had also answers from Mr. Denherter in that's representing Mr. Evans, and I'll just read my answers to the first one. Failure to comply with CUP, and this is for 3900 Alphonse Road, Track 2, Whitetail Run. No screening provided to neighbors as stated in CUP. Screening was required before beginning operation, and this business has been in operation for 3 years with no screening. My answer was it was recommended in the meeting that Mr. Heine and Mr. Evans should build a fence on the west side of Doe Avenue, and this issue would be resolved. B was not built to provided site plan. Site plan clearly shows internal east-west lanes with clear internal pathways for traffic and parking on the east border. Currently, the park operates with north-south lanes directly connected to the road, creating large amount of unnecessary road traffic in the summer. My answer was, as stated previously in meeting, there appears to be a missing plan showing the amended alignment due to a final approval of a 70 site plan, which cannot be verified per the minutes. C, no road agreement with neighbors for Alphonse Road. My answer, perpetual easement recorded in book 376, page 230, recorded in March 1995. There's always been a recorded document stating maintenance of said dirt roadway with shared responsibility. Number 2, setback violation. Building next to Alphonse Road with no variance. This is lakeside commercially zoned, which requires a 75-foot setback for the frontage. My answer, as stated previous meetings, the existing setback was approved during a CUP process and was stated in the meeting minutes. The Peterson Campground had the same thing stated in a CUP back in 2014. And just one other thing on that, there was no complaint filed within the 15-day period after the building permit was issued. Number 3, right-of-way violation, building inside the right-of-way for Alphonse Road. Additionally, it appears there's a septic tank placed further into the right-of-way. My answer, as stated in number 2, the building appears to be set at the approved distance per CUP. A survey would have had to be completed to prove that it is not. Number 4, permanent residence. RV parks are intended for transitional residents. My answer, there's no proof that we have any residents that stay there year round. And that's the end of complaint number 1. There was one issue on complaint number 2 about the utilizing Alphonse Road as an access to property against CUP requirements. And my answer to that was, per meeting discussion, it appears that you were in violation of this as per the discussion. It was stated that all the access to lot 16 was to not use Alphonse Road. And I'm asking for a clarification by the commission to be sought regarding the intent for the future campers to the new campground or for construction-related activity to the new campground on lot 16 Whitetail Run, and whether that was intended to be a condition of the conditional use, that he had to wait to use Buck Road or not. That's the end of my discussion.
So tonight, are you asking us for clarification on the second complaint?
Correct.
And that was the use, the access to the lot.
Yes, to
Access
use
to the second.
the new campground.
I got a question for Deb. Should this be Board of Adjustment for a zoning violation? Or, because we're in regular session now, okay?
I think my understanding with Mr. Vetter was he was just gonna report to all of
Right.
you. I don't think he was asking for any decision or any action to be taken by the board.
Mm.
And so you're fine that you're in regular session. He's just reporting what he found based on the complaints that were filed.
To go to the Board of Adjustment, somebody would have to appeal your report or decision.
Right.
Okay.
There'd have to be formal action, and then you do have to do all your notices and things like that.
Are we able to clarify his question about the use of Alphonse Road in regular session? Because you're kind of asking us for clarification on that, is that correct?
Yes, for the applicant's benefit and for the benefit of the complaint.
So if we need to clarify something we did in Board of Adjustment, we should probably go back in Board of Adjustment or not.
You know, if you were gonna take actual action on it, I think it's more like, I guess I'm not really sure what you're gonna be able to do tonight.
Correct.
I think my understanding was Mr. Vetter was gonna report on it, and then whether you need to rewatch or look at the minutes, or I have no idea.
I think that would be a separate issue to me at this point. So that's all I have to report.
So you have to render a decision now, Gary? Is that how this works? And
This is your
this is your
This
decision?
is the decision.
So your decision is that.
There's really not a whole
There's-
lot that we can do at this point.
Okay.
So it's-
Your decision is there.
Dan, speak up.
So your decision is there, as far as your recommendation for violation or zoning enforcement, that there is nothing to enforce? Is that he is in compliance as you see at this point?
Correct, unless there was concern about the clarifying the second issue.
Does any commissioner feel we need to assist Mr. Vetter in clarifying the second campground access?
Sherry, I guess I thought I understood that Doe Street would not be used for access to the previously owned property. And that Matt would be able to use Alphonse Road to where they turn into his property. Is that correct, Gary?
That's basically what the question is, yeah, the assumption would be that he's able to use Alphonse Road to access, but that was what the question that was brought up.
And since Doe isn't done and Buck won't be done and for a while, I don't know when, but maybe as late as July or August, how is Mr. Evans going to access the new campground?
That is the question.
I think we were very clear that access through the previous campground was not authorized.
See, Don, as I recall, I thought that was for campers. So I think therein lies the question.
I just want Mr. Evans to do, and I'm sure he needs to understand clearly what we want him to do, but to do what he said he would do in reference to traffic going through the old campground to the new campground. And I think construction equipment has moved Alphonse Road up through Matt's previously built campground into the new campground. And I don't think that was authorized.
That would be my recollection as well.
And I would agree with that as well. We had a very lengthy discussion that access for the second campground was to be from the north.
Correct me if I'm wrong, there has been a road agreement that's been discovered in the meantime. Is that not correct?
Well, yeah, for Alphonse, as
Yeah.
I stated, there was that perpetual easement document
So,
back in March of '95.
so there's a perpetual easement with a road maintenance agreement on it, which we weren't aware of at the conditional use permit hearing.
But Dan, I think, can I jump in here? Gary, aren't we to understand that previous document was a document that said basically the two parties should get together and complete a road agreement?
Correct. It did outline a way for them to help.
And nothing was done by either party that we know of.
Well, the document I saw was an agreement where I believe anything that costs $200 or
Right.
more had to be agreed upon by both parties. So in a sense, there is an agreement. Now, whether or not people agree with that agreement is one thing, but it does exist.
Well, for the clarification at hand, I don't know if we've got different opinions already. I don't know we'll offer any. I think it was very clear that access to the new campground would be from the north. What was not clear was that strictly for campers, or was construction allowed to happen through the south? I don't believe it was discussed. I don't know how to.
Well, and the lawyers can jump in on this, but I'd probably disagree with that, Joe, because access is access. And it doesn't say campers only or construction equipment. It says access is not allowed through that area.
Is Alphonse a public road?
Correct.
Yep, it's public right away.
Well, if it, I guess I don't remember it that way, Don. would have said that would have been for campers, and I think we got to be careful on, the limits we're putting on public access roads. And especially, I assume construction is already happening right now. Is that
Correct. And
So-
from what I've been told, it should be ending around May 1st.
So,
It should be what?
Ending around May 1st.
so depending on our actions, if we shut down construction on this, there could be repercussions as well.
They already got all the equipment in there. The equipment's been operating for several days, several weeks. It's already been done.
Yeah.
Our issue is whether we intend to enforce the requirements that we put on it or not to enforce it. And personally, on Matt's side, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't allow him to take construction equipment across his old campground to the new one. It doesn't make any sense.
So Don, I just want to clarify your last sentence. So you are in support of continuing to allow him to finish his campground using access from the south?
Oh, I don't think I said that. I said I understand that.
You
and
understand it?
That probably should have been the way it was.
Yes.
But I don't believe that was the way it was. And we'd have to go back and look at the recordings to see the exact terminology used.
And I agree with that, Don. I agree with you there.
Is there anything preventing at this point access through the north and to the east?
Culvert, probably.
Culvert.
Yeah, Buck Road isn't done, even close to done. And to get in the way he told us he was going to go in, you got to go down Doe Road to the south a fair distance.
Yeah, the entrance to Buck hasn't been completed yet.
Sorry, what did you say?
The entrance to Buck has not been completed
There's
today.
a culvert still sitting there that needs to be installed. And I believe that's the end of July is the deadline for that. Is that correct?
I was told, yeah, by late summer, early fall, hopefully.
If I remember it being in the contract that was in one of the packets. It was like July 29th.
And this is just an opinion. And that's all I want to express here. But these two guys have been back and forth for 3 years. And if they'd sit down and resolve the two issues that are out there, it wouldn't cost either one of them very much money. And they'd have it all resolved. And we waste an hour or 2 hours. I don't want to use the word waste. We spend an hour or 2 hours a meeting. I go out and look at what's being done out there, drive out there, and I keep thinking, why is this going on? Why is this happening? It just doesn't make sense.
Well said. Did you listen to the video?
I have listened to the video, but that's why I said my impression was that was the discussion that he wouldn't use that, but
Would
but
or would not?
I do agree that it's hard to say that for the public right away.
Yep. So that he couldn't was the impression that Mr. Vetter got from the video, but given that it's a public right-of-way access, I have right-of-way out where I live. I can't stop people from using it.
Is there
Yeah.
an established public right-of-way from the north end of Matt's old property onto the new property? Has there ever been an established public right-of-way established there? And if so, who did it and when's it been checked on?
there's one on the
Hamburger.
west side and.
Yep.
And so the
Doe.
issue is if he can't go through his campground, he's just gonna go down Alphonse and then north to the west side of the campground would be my guess. Which
Yep.
is a public right of way.
24 feet.
I don't think you can do that. Go out and look at it.
So there's a 33-foot right-of-way there to the west side that leads up to the new campground.
That's a Doe Avenue, yes.
Yep.
That's
So-
been dedicated.
No,
And this, and this issue is not Matt's fault. And that's not Ryan's fault. We've got to resolve these roads in the future, going forward in the future, because we're not that big of a county. We need to get along. We need to be promotive of each other.
any other direction anyone would like to give Mr. Vetter? No? Don, any final thoughts?
I guess if you could forward to me a copy of the meeting where we discussed that access, it would really clear up in my mind what the definition was. And if I'm wrong, I don't want to hurt Matt. So Gary, if you can forward a copy of that to me, I'd like to look at it.
We sure can.
All right. Further comments before we close this item? All right, item 10 is closed. Item 11, Michael Kukta rezone. It is scheduled for 6:40. And is this the first reading, correct?
Correct.
And it is 7:08.
So this is first reading. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held for the Yankton County Commission on Tuesday, April 5th, 2021, beginning at 6:40 PM and April 20, 2021, beginning at 6:35 PM at the Yankton County Government Center, Commission Chambers, 321 West 3rd Street, Yankton, South Dakota. Said hearing is to consider the following. Applicants are requesting to rezone the following properties from rural transitional district to moderate density district. Residential. Said properties are described as Tract 3 DJ's Addition, County of Yankton, South Dakota, as per plat as recorded in book S19, page 350. Tract 5 DJ's Addition in Lot A, Section 16, Township 93 North, Range 55 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. Tract 4 DJ's Addition, Yankton County, South Dakota, as per plat recorded in book S20, page 85. Tract 1 DJ's Addition, Yankton County, South Dakota. Lot A excluding tracts 1 through 6, DJ's Addition, and the east 558 feet of Lot B, Yankton County, South Dakota. Tract 6 DJ's Addition in Lot B, Section 16, Township 93 North, Range 55 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota.
Thank you. At this time, would anyone care to make a public comment at this hearing? Okay, come on up. There was no public comment.
You can come up.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
So that land there, I got my in-laws that live there. They're gonna gift me 2 acres. And then I'm gonna be buying additional 3 acres from, would be my wife's grandma. So we'd be looking at building a house out there and be looking at rezoning all of that. Brad King owns land clear to the east side. he's looking at wanting to get something built out there as well. So if this all goes through, there would be his property being built on, mine, and then in the far northwest corner, there'd be an acre and a half sold off for another home to be built on.
Any questions for the applicant? Don, do you have any questions?
I do not, we reviewed the program in planning and zoning, and it looks like a great opportunity to me to expand housing area in the immediate area of Yankton. Thank you.
All right, sir, you may sit down. Thank you. So in our packet are the findings of fact from the Planning Commission. They did walk through all the documents required for application were submitted. Individual petitioner provides a completed amendment, any special conditions, circumstances, applicants requesting rezone for several properties. Notice of public hearings have been completed. Public hearing was held at the Planning Commission, and they found the rezone to be justified. So as it sits today, all lots are currently non-compliant because rural transitional is 20-acre lot, if I recall correctly. And they recommended the grant of amendment. So they did walk through ingress, egress, off right-of-way parking, refuse service areas, et cetera. And these will be all individual lots eventually, probably several homes built in the area. There was one area between them that
Yeah, one lot
eventually
decided not to do it at this time, but this is a perfect example of what we talked about for economic development and having lots available to be built on. And I think it just makes a lot of sense to rezone these lots, allow these current and future plans for possible houses being built out there. And this was one of those areas where it seems to make sense.
And just to the north of this, there's moderate density as well. So we will not be taking any action tonight because we do have to have a second reading at our next meeting. Any concerns at this point of this application? All right, we will wait till our next meeting to make our decision on approving that. Item number 12. Thank you, sir. Appoint, so Matt Archer, come on up.
At the last meeting, we discussed naming a second deputy, Jeff Pudoff, and you guys gave me the authorized to offer it to him, and we're ready to do that. I believe we're probably still gonna need a vote because
There'll still be a motion.
yeah, because he just let me.
Did you accept, Jeff? Come on up here so the citizens can see you. You do a lot of good work and you need some recognition, so.
So what we discussed was a grade 9, step 6, which currently is $1,359 more than what he's getting now. Jeff does our GIS. We're, I think, the only county of this size that does our GIS in-house. And now with the whole big raise he's getting, he gets to learn camera systems and SQL. So gonna teach him some of the stuff that I did before. 'Cause with Lori gone, I got to take on more of her stuff.
All right, I would entertain a motion to promote Jeff to second deputy director of equalization.
So
Henry moves.
Okay, I'm going to give that one to Don. So motion by Kettering, second by Healy to promote Jeff to second deputy director of equalization. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Jeff Putoff,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of Yankton County Deputy Director of Equalization to the best of my ability.
and faithfully discharge the duties of Yankton County Deputy Director of Equalization to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jeff.
All right, now we have a number of abatements. There's a few that I probably am just gonna give the parcel number. There's a few that I can't really, they qualified for an exemption. I can't really say what the exemption is, but all of these are recommended by our office. They're either clerical errors from splits, city owns bought property, et cetera, or somebody qualified for an exemption, and under state law, we can go retroactive if they qualified. So the first one is parcel 10.36.300.465. That is a city of Yankton property that's owned, so we were looking to abate the $241.88 that went out on their tax notice.
Which one was that?
Do you guys have a different order? Or?
It's on page 4.
Okay.
So it's 10/36/300/465.
Okay,
So do you need a motion for each one of these separately?
I believe so.
Probably.
Okay,
I'd move to accept abatement of said parcel for $241.88.
Second.
a motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the abatement 10/36/300/465 for $241.88. Further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
What number do you have next?
Well, how
If
about
you
we
go
just
to-
go back to
Go to the top of ours. It's.
we have $876.56.
All right, that will be another same thing with the city.
So did the city buy a property or what's the
A
situation?
couple of them were that they bought it, and a couple of them were, when they did the transfer. It was a clerical error, they didn't change the class to exempt, so it automatically generated the tax bill.
Okay.
So there's two parcels on this one. 10.36.300.366 and 10.36.300.464. The first one was $786.56. The second was $157.46.
So this will be, Yep.
876.56.
yep. So we just need one motion for both of these.
Move approval of abatement for said parcels for amounts of $876.56 and $157.46.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the abatements for parcel 10/36/300/366 and 10/36/300/464. The amount stated by Mr. Healy. Further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. So the next page, we have 12/15/82.
Okay. This is another city of Yankton, parcel number 10.036.110.040. And additionally 10.036.300.363. The first one was $1,215.82. The second is $795.38.
Move approval of abatement for said parcels in the amount of $1,215.82 and $795.38.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve abatements for parcels 10/36/110/040 and 1036, 300, 363 in the amount stated in the motion. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Next one, 1623.
Is that the city
Yes.
as well, or which one's this one?
This one right here?
Yeah, who's this for?
This is a nonprofit, the 430 Foundation. Which I believe, or 4030 Foundation. They applied and received an exemption. When it was inputted, the exemption never stuck or didn't get put in, one or the other. That one is 10.036, 110.101, $1,623.24.
Move approval of the abatement for said parcel for $1,623.24.
Second.
The motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the abatement for parcel 1036, 110, 101 for 1623.24. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Next one, I believe, is 620.
Yes.
Parcel number 10.036.110.100. This one is the Yankton Area Fourth Soccer Association, so they're exempt. The total is $620.08.
Move approval of the abatement for $620.08.
Second.
The motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve abatement for parcel 1036, 110, 100 for 620.08. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Next one, 6178. Parcel number 03001150030, City of Irene. It's exempt property, $61.78.
Move approval of abatement for $61.78.
Second.
You guys are making it too easy on Patty.
Let's keep her
I have
rolling.
a motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the abatement for parcel 3-1-150-30 for 61.78. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
The next one ending in 060 qualified for an exemption. With that exemption, amount abated $1,693.88. And with some of these exemptions, we're not be able to disclose what they were for. So
I'm sorry, what was the last part?
some of the exemptions, like if you call and ask about an exemption on a property, all I can say is they qualified for an exemption.
That's what they said? I qualify?
No,
No, he can't.
That's what I can, that's why I'm not giving the full parcel number and everything, because
So why does this one qualify?
That's what he's saying, is
I-
he can't disclose why.
if you'd like to know, you'd have to probably come up to the office. and
Oh.
know. But it's
I'm
it's
just
approved.
curious.
Yep.
Okay.
So that one's $1693.88.
I'd move approval of abatement for parcel number 78.930.008.060 in the amount of $1,693.88.
I'll second.
Second.
Oh.
Mixing it up, Don.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox. We're going to stay consistent there to approve the abatement for 1693.88. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And the last one is two parcels, 05004 200 225, 05009 100 100. This is Valley Egg Service. They split off some of their property and sold it, and it was maybe incorrectly assumed it was going to be all going to commercial. So it was assessed as commercial, egg commercial. Now that we've seen the transfers, only a small portion of it was transferred. The other stayed in the same ownership under the same egg use. So the difference that we're asking for abatement is if they, instead of being egg seed or commercial, is to go to egg seed. So the first one's $428. The second is $1,014.44.
And that happened just recently then, or has this
This would have been last year.
Okay.
So these would be the 2020 assessments payable 2021. Usually we don't get all these, but we've been just kind of holding on to them.
Well, I'd move approval of the abatement for said parcels for $428 even and $1,014.44.
Second.
Motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the abatements for $428 and $1,014.44. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. That's the last one, right?
Yep. And
Good thing
then,
you were first, Jeff.
I know, then, knock on wood, but tomorrow's the deadline for appeal. Currently, we have 5 appeals and 10 corrections. I probably think that it's gonna probably go down to 3 appeals by the end of, I feeling a couple are gonna withdraw. Most of them are commercial tax reps. So I know said we're gonna start at 12. Are we gonna stick to that, or?
That's with city and county?
Yeah, that's all.
School board too.
It's come a long ways from 260 some 10 years ago. But that's, your technology that you provided makes it a lot easier to be consistent.
So do you want to start at noon?
It's up to you guys. I know there was discussion about it. I mean,
How
I
are-
would say that we're probably less than 2 hours, probably half hour with the city, and then another half hour to maybe 45 minutes with the county. And then we just got to go through all the exemptions.
Okay.
To prove that part. That's gonna be another 45 minutes. So I mean, if we start at noon, I wouldn't see us going farther than 3. So I mean, if
It's
we,
pretty good. So let's stick with noon then,
on the 23rd, right?
on the 23rd.
Matt, have you heard of any of them will be Zoom?
No, I haven't.
I mean, I might send an email tomorrow and see if they'll be Zoom.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13, Mr. Solacek.
First is the Stone Church Bridge. We applied for a replacement grant earlier this year. It did not make the cut. So I guess to keep that on track, I'd like to have approval to move forward to do the construction and design engineering on that, so we could apply again next January.
This will give us 10 points, is that correct?
This will gain us 10 points on the big score. I think the score was originally 48.77, if I remember right. And the lowest score to be awarded this year was 50.2-ish, right in there. So not saying we're guaranteed next year, but we'd be in the hard runnings for getting it, so. Approximate, in here says approximately 130,000 is what it would end up costing us.
You just need a motion for that?
Yep, I just need a motion that I can.
I'll make a motion to approve the design engineering for Stone Church Bridge.
Second.
I have a motion by Clemish, second by Healy to approve the design engineering for Stone Church. There's a little delay. One of these times, Don, I'm just going to tell everybody to hold off and let Don go first.
Spurge for the fast internet.
Yeah, get the
Don.
high speed.
That's all right. I'm okay.
So I have a motion and a second to approve. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
When is that gonna start? And when, it's right away, and when we projected to get that?
We're projecting this fall it to be all completed so we can,
The application deadline is January 2nd,
right.
and it's a lot of work. So that's why we're pushing through.
Next is, I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks back at the last commission meeting, I had you do a resolution for replacement for the federal program for 2 bridges. Well, I would like to also do a resolution for a removal of a bridge. It was back in 2020. We took this bridge off of the NBIS. This bridge has been closed since like 14 or 16. No, it's actually been longer than that, probably like 2011 or 2012. So the road has been closed since then. So I guess they need looking for a motion for the resolution for the bridge removal.
So moved.
Second.
We were waiting for you, Don. A motion by Kettering, second by Fox? Dan, sorry. I was so excited that Don got that motion. To approve the removal grant resolution for Bridge 6810-134. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
They went in pretty good detail with this at the county convention, or county commissioner training, and it's a good program. It's really underutilized for the state, so I'm glad you're taking advantage of that.
That's three projects we're applying for with it, so hopefully we'll get one, at least one. Next, I have right-of-way application for Gary Becker. It's to do a 12-inch bore on 435 Avenue. Be approximately a mile and a quarter north of Highway 50 on the Utica Road.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Clemish to approve the right-of-way application for Gary Becker. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Next, Vast Broadband is to bury fiber optic to residents up on 442nd Avenue. The side roads, the side streets like 433rd or 443rd and 441st, that is township. So this would be just for our 442nd Avenue.
I have a motion to approve for Vast Broadband.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Clemish to approve the right-of-way application for Vast Broadband. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Next be a right-of-way application for East River Electric Power Co-op. It'd be to connect the substation by Dakota Plains over to the new substation south of Utica. This would be just for right along the Tabor Road there from, I thought I remembered all this, but I don't. Between 436 and 435.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the right-of-way application for East River Electric Power Co-op. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All
Aye.
opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Last is entrance application for the House of Mary Shrine. They purchased house from the school. Just on the north side of the shrine there is where they plan on putting the house. There will be a temporary, when I spoke to them, I didn't think it would be an issue, but allow them to put a temporary approach in there to get the house moved in, and then they could dig it out and put a culvert in.
May I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
A motion by Healy, second by Fox to approve the entrance application. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
One last thing, we just started our summer hours today, just so everybody knows. 6:30 till 5, Monday through Thursday. Weather's good, load limits are off. Started some dirt projects last week and continue on, so.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
Bye
Yeah,
now.
you too.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Don.
Item 14, Mr. Henderson, District 3. Signature?
Thank you.
I understand that you probably had a copy of this in your packet, but we like paper, so decided to bring one along. I think many of you have seen this report before. This formatting is pretty much the same as we've always used. The first page talks a little bit about Planning and Development District 3 as an organization, the area we serve, the services we provide, and the staff we employ. The second page is information on agency relationships, which are important for a couple of reasons. One, they provide assistance for our budget. We have a lot of contracts with state and federal agencies. The second one is it builds relationships so that if we're working on projects with different state officials, sometimes it helps us by having them trust us because they know us. The regional service highlights are the bottom of page 2 onto page 3. Last year was a tough year for everybody in terms of being disrupted. As I don't need to tell you, we're still being disrupted. But we did a lot of things last year that were COVID related in terms of the federal response. We were awarded an extra $4 million for our revolving loan fund, and you'll see that in a few minutes in your report. We made 56 loans in about 6 weeks. And we were told by the Economic Development Administration out of Denver that we were the first planning district in the country to disperse their money that quickly. We were told to get it out on the street, and we did. We also received extra money from EDA for planning activities, and we're still carrying those out today. If you look on the top of, well, the other thing we did this last year, the state was passing down Recovery Act money to cities and counties. We helped act as an intermediary on that to make sure that projects that were being proposed would be eligible. And it took a lot of effort. But again, the end result was about $21 million coming into the region. We can't say we're responsible for every penny of that, but I think we did help some people get some projects approved, some equipment purchased and whatever. Page 3, some of our typical application activity. We had 22 applications approved last year for about $19.6 million. That was a fairly typical outcome for us. Turn to page 4, please. That's Yankton County specific information. The top of the page, since 1973, when we were formed, you've paid our office a little over $762,000. We've helped you bring into the county about $115 million. That's a return of $151 for every dollar you've invested. That's not bad. The 2020 application activity, you can see that we had fairly good luck with applications last year, where there were a couple denied, but there were also several approved. Our small business support, We made 21 loans in the county last year. The 2020 projects, we gave them 1,363,000 of our funds. It generated another 2.1 million in private investment, creating or saving 96 jobs. Our Small Business Development Center, they had to work remotely last year. Again, when nobody was meeting in person, but they still were able to help 31 businesses in the county, resulting in over $4 million of private investment. And historically now we've had over 807 clients in Yankton County with the SBDC. And I think that accounted for close to $50 million of private investment. The SBDC is a great service. It's free, it's professional, it's confidential. The banks love it. And again, I would encourage you, when you have businesses approach you about needing some help, to give us a call. Governor's House Program, you can see where we've sold the houses in the county, and we can talk more about that in a minute. On page 5, it lists all the different activities we did in the county. We don't record every phone call that we make or every time somebody walks in the office to talk to us, but these are the main things that we wanted to bring to your attention. Starting on page 6 is historical information on previous applications. We can go all the way back in time to see everything that we've helped fund. On page 13, it's previous assistance highlights. These are non-financial, but again, there are things that we felt were important that probably helped the county with development in different ways. One of the things that's typical for us is most of the projects we do are for the cities, but most of the planning work we do is for Yankton County. So if you look on page 16, anticipated assistance for the next year or so. We're continuing to work on disaster project administration for Yankton. We're going to get your comprehensive plan information updated. We're already working on that. GIS support, we do provide GIS support to Yankton County on a fairly regular basis. We're going to help you with your 5-year highway plan. I don't think you're going to need to worry about redistricting. Obviously, you're all elected at large, but if you do have any municipalities that have districts, we can help them with that when the census is out. And there's no charge for any of that. We're going to help your director of equalization with the new table 1 soil layer. I'm not even sure what that is, but it's going to help you do a better job. We're going to be working on some James River water development applications. And Don, I'm sure you'll be encountering those. Rec trails, Land and Water Conservation Fund also comes up this year. And they did get an extra $2.5 million under the federal government's funding. So if you know of any communities that have playgrounds, swimming pools, rec trails, anything like that, this would be a good year for them to look for help. That's a 50-50 match program. So that's it in a nutshell as far as Yankton County. The last part of the report is just overview for the region for our specialty programs. And then one thing I wanted to draw your attention to is a separate handout. I just stuck that in there this morning. The governor's house went up in price in March 1st, but it's still a good deal. The 3-bedroom unit is $68,700. We have a 2-bedroom sitting in our parking lot right now that people can come and see if they want to see what it looks like. But the price went up about $11,000 March 1st. We sold 17 of them in February. So we put the word out that, you know, time's a ticking. And then on the back of it is a program that only applies for towns under 5,000. But I know the commission is concerned about housing, especially in rural communities. This would be a great opportunity for some places to get rentals. The Dakotaplex is not income-based. So the thing there, they limit how much you can charge for rent. But again, it's a great program. There's a unit over in Tyndall, if you ever want to see one. And again, I think there's going to be a lot of demand for that across the whole state. Any questions? I wouldn't be standing here today, but for your support for our office, and we appreciate it, and we'll do the best we can. You have an advantage over every other county we work for because we're located here. But we don't take you for granted or anybody else. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
were to give us 3 priorities, what would be the top 3 priorities that we're aggressively working on?
I didn't hear
Okay.
what he said.
Don, we didn't hear the first part of your question. Could you repeat that, please?
You betcha. I said, if you were asked the question, what are the 3 top priorities that Yankton County should be working on? In your opinion, what would those 3 be?
Well, infrastructure is always an important part of development. So anything you can do to maintain your roads or add capacity to your transportation system, I would say would be 1. Supporting job creation, job training. Workforce is always a big limiting factor. So again, your support of entities like Yankton Area Progressive Growth, I think, are important to help build that economic base. And the last one, I think, would be rural housing. I think that there's a need for housing in this county. I would like to see the small towns add housing versus having subdivisions pop up all over out in the country. That's a personal opinion. But I think that the small towns in this county are prime for development. If we can put more housing in there where there already is infrastructure, there's already, places for them to shop and so on, I think that would benefit all of us. So those would be the 3 things that I would suggest.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I'd just like to say how great it is to work with District 3. You've been a tremendous help to the county. Every time we ask, you're cheery-eyed and willing to help, and it's a great relationship, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Yes,
All right. Take care. Thank you very much.
appreciate it. Item 15, Paul, burn ban.
Good evening. I'm here before you tonight to talk to you about implementing a burn ban resolution for Yankton County to put in place. I've been in contact. Actually, the fire department's been in contact with me. We've been working back and forth together. They feel very strongly, even though we got a good chance, but the key word there is chance in our rain forecast. I'm just looking at the storm coming down in Nebraska. It's going to fall apart before it gets here the way it looks. But they're looking at implementing something like we did in 2019 or back in 2012. This is actually the same resolution that was put in back at that time. The only difference to this one here, we have a sunset clause in here, if you will, of May 4th, which would be your next, that would be the commission meeting date. So if it would need to be extended, it could be. It would also could be taken off as soon as the fire department say, hey, you know what, it's good enough, let them go, let them burn. We would just get together, send an email to you guys saying they're releasing it and they feel it's comfortable to go. But right now, they're really encouraging that you guys pass this resolution stating that the burn ban, a permanent burn ban, let me rephrase that. A temporary burn ban, I shouldn't say permanent, a temporary burn ban be put in place because of the dry conditions that we've got going on in the county.
So I did receive a phone call on this one after I posted it to Facebook that this might be going on, and the concern was CRP.
Yep.
And I think May 1 is, April 30th is usually the last day to burn CRP. So a question to you is, at our next meeting, if we do feel that it's no longer necessary to have it, can we revoke it then?
Yes, yeah, I mean, like I said, if the chiefs or the people that got to go chase it, if it would get away right now, are the ones that they say, we feel comfortable that let's start doing CRP, we got time or whatever, they will make the recommendation to say, let's lift it, and we'll try to get it lifted as soon as possible.
Okay, so you're the one who lifts it if we can?
Yep.
Is that clear in this resolution that you have the authority to lift this if so determined?
It's actually in ordinance 17, part of that, and the other resolution that we have on the burn ban that goes on and off with the very high to high conditions that we got right now. But all the fire departments, and I have emails from all the department chiefs stating that they are in favor of this burn ban. In case somebody was wondering, the only one I didn't hear was from Ball. But I got Irene, Gayville, Yankton, Tom, Larry, both of them are.
Paul, what enforcement authorities do you have?
I'm sorry.
When it's reported that somebody's burning, what enforcement?
Well, right now, okay, well, enforcement, right now, it's classified as a class 2 misdemeanor. If we could get, it would be reporting it to the sheriff to go out and either issue a ticket or, to tell them they need to put it out. I mean, most cases, in the past years that we've done this, somebody has told that, you should put that out, because I didn't know about it. They usually put it out. It's not a problem. I think the biggest thing right now is that we're having problems with and we still don't have the perfect method. Like today we're still actually in a burn ban until 9 o'clock tonight. But that's on the old resolution that we go back and forth that allows us to do this when it gets either very high or extreme. And people say they don't know if it's in or out. And we're trying to get that message out by many different media platforms. But with this here, we would get this out and then the word to be spread that it's good, it's on, and there's absolutely no burning, even if it gets a sprinkle tonight. Because they say that even though we get some rain, I was talking with some of the guys today, we get a wind. If you look at the forecast, we're still supposed to get south winds. It's going to be a little cooler, but yet the winds are going to dry it out. We'll be back to where we were. And this past weekend, everybody was pretty busy over the weekend chasing fires from getting out of burn pits and stuff like that. But does that answer your question, Don?
Yeah, I guess, this is one of them enforcement issues that you never see in the paper that anybody was fined because they were not respecting a burn ban. Maybe they're there and I don't get it, but I think we need to be very serious about this burn ban. And they have to pay a penalty if they ignore it.
And it's laid out in the last paragraph. And I had it all proof today, so we were good to go. And because we had a couple typos in there from years back. We had the word treat instead of threat. It's been that way for 3 years.
I think that the max fine a county can levy is 500 now and not 200. I'm fine with keeping it
Right,
where
but
it
we
is,
were told
sure.
that the 200 is a more acceptable deal with the 2 class 2 misdemeanor.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
fine with that.
500 is there though. You changed that here a few years ago, but.
I guess the only one concern I guess I might have, I'm sure that it's a potential issue, but trash, burn barrels and things. I know there's people that are gonna burn their trash anyway, or I don't know what else they're gonna, in 2019, we got call after call. I got garbage piling up.
Right.
What am I supposed to do with it? And how are we gonna address that, I guess?
I'm
Don't mean to put you on the
gonna
spot,
stick to what it says here, but I mean, I don't
and part
think
of the
anybody's gonna
reason-
nobody's gonna say anything if somebody burns a little. I'll tell you, Joe, on Saturday, there were 4 fires in Yankton County, and they all came from burning garbage.
Okay.
It spread out, got in, the spark went out, started, one was a tire pile, another one was about 20 acres of grass. Another one, so we're just asking people not to.
Right.
And people are,
And the only reason I bring it up is because fire pits are okay.
but they have to have the spark arresters, and that's a part of ordinance 17 that actually has the dimensions and stuff like that, in that correct, Ray? If I remember
Okay.
right.
Okay.
And that lays that out.
Okay.
I was out in Lesterville on Saturday and I saw Paul just as he was getting off of one fire going to another one. And it's a real threat. And I don't think he'd be here unless this was pretty serious. It's very dry out there and we just, don't want something to get away. And well, last year that fire out by 81, you'd imagine if we had something like that
Right
now,
with the wind.
what would happen? So.
And again, if we get a bunch of rain in the next couple, 2-3 days, this can all go away. But we just got to pray that it happens and then we'll turn around and get rid of it. But for right now, we feel this was the meeting to come to, that we need to get this, to hopefully get it implemented, and then we'll move on forward from there.
Okay.
Any other questions for Paul? Entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the resolution. to provide for temporary emergency regulation of fire hazards in Yankton County.
Second.
I have a motion by Fox, second by Kettering to approve the temporary emergency regulation of fire through May 4th. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, yes. I would like, you could just email me a copy tomorrow, Patty. That'd be great. All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, item 16, JDAI discussion decision. We're not too far behind, but we're a little behind. So Don and I continue to have discussions, and we are coming back with the recommendation that the Boys and Girls Club lead the application for the grant. Don, did you want to add anything to the conversation?
No, I think both sides of the issue were discussed thoroughly. Everybody's busy. This looks like a great opportunity to help some kids, maybe. I do have a letter from Dr. Kendall putting his support behind the Boys and Girls Club being the administrator of the grant. If you want that read.
I don't think it's necessary unless the other commissioners want to hear it. Now, Deb, on this, do you want us to go ahead and make a motion to support the Boys and Girls Club's application for the grant?
You would be supporting the Boys and Girls Club as housing the coordinator of the grant.
As housing the coordinator of the
Yeah,
grant.
That's the direction to go, and that they know that we're, as a county, that we're all in support of moving forward on the initiative, so.
Okay, great. So whoever, go ahead.
So the funding will fund the Boys and Girls Club with a person there.
Yes.
And then what will that person who's there do? I mean, will she be, he or she?
Yep. Yep, go ahead.
Will he or she be the contact person for chin petitions or what?
Good evening. I'm Tom Stanage, Lewis and Clark Behavioral Health Services. I guess I just have a couple comments, and one is that as a long-serving member of the statewide JDAI steering committee, I'm gratified to see Yankton County really deciding to take this issue on. And through this process, that I've recommended that the Boys and Girls Club receive the grant to really make it happen. And a couple reasons for that. And number one is that this is really looking at developing alternatives to detention. And you're really looking at things like attendance centers or reporting centers. If we really get cooking with gas, some kind of alternative to shelter care. And it really does, in my opinion, fit well with the Boys and Girls Club programming. It would just be impossible, in my opinion, to really carry this out without the Boys and Girls Club programming. It's just a really good fit there. The other thing, and I just looked at the grant that the Boys and Girls Club wrote, and I think this has to be done tomorrow, correct?
The grant itself does not.
But
no.
it's got to be done relatively soon.
Yeah.
And I just looked at the grant that the Boys and Girls Club prepared and did for last year or the year before. But the other really important piece is that the Boys and Girls Club are operating under this exact same grant in Brookings. And so they have the experience making it work. And I think they can be hit the ground running. So those are really my reasons for recommending that it be done at the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
So, and I can answer questions.
Wanda, did you have some questions? Okay.
Just trying to figure out what it is you're trying to do.
So Don,
It's an alternative to juvenile detention.
Yeah, Wanda.
that's really what the work is for, but in Sioux Falls and Rapid City, it was really a no-brainer, in that there was a lot of volume, there were a lot of options. In a community our size, it's more challenging because we don't have the existing options. So part of it is developing options as an alternative, and so that would a large part of what the position would be doing under the grant. So, and those are things like reporting centers, substitute for shelter care, those kinds of things. So you don't have to send kids to Sioux Falls for shelter care would be an example.
Well, Wanda, I think there'll be close collaboration with the state's attorney's office, with the high school, with Gayville High School. This person will have to develop relationships that will create a setting where the individuals that need help meet with her, I believe on a weekly basis at least, more often if needed, and the person's expectations are reviewed and considered.
So do we just need a motion to have the Boys and Girls Club be the recipient of the grant, or what do we, is that the decision we need?
Are you making that motion?
Yeah, I'd go ahead and make the motion to have the Boys and Girls Club be the recipient of the grant for the JDI.
I'll second Dan's motion.
I have a motion by Clemish, second by Kettering, to approve the Boys and Girls Club to apply for the grant, and they will house the employee associated with the grant. Further discussion?
Just to be clear, so then do the funds go to the county, then to the Boys and Girls Club, or straight to Boys and Girls Club?
It'd be Boys and Girls Club if they're the grant applicant. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for hanging around.
Thanks, Doctor.
Article 5 update. Don, do you care to share anything on your Article 5 at planning?
Well, yes. Over the last 2 weeks, we attempted to have another meeting and hopefully go through the review of the latter part of the Article 5 document for proposed changes. Both of those meetings got canceled. One was for a room requirement for a lawsuit to take depositions. And I guess the other one was maybe because of COVID or something. I'm not sure. But we're scheduled at our next meeting to get back on the road with the remainder of the Article 15 discussion.
Any other comments? All right, thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
Item number 18 is to appoint 2 new planning commissioners. You should each have a printout of Robert Gleich, Dennis Michael, Kathy Weiss, and Zane Williams. So we can pick
I had
2.
one. I don't know where it went, but I have one. That's not it. It's all right.
Don, give her, did she find, okay.
Oh, are we supposed to vote?
Did you talk to Don already?
Oh, no, I did not.
He just has to tell us his answer.
You don't get to vote.
If somebody wants to call me, I can tell them who I'm going to vote for.
I have his phone number, or Gary, you're
Gary.
calling?
Gary's gonna call.
Patty will tally the votes.
Hi, Gary. Oh, I guess I'm still on the speaker. I gotta get off the speaker. No use having you call if I'm on the speaker, huh?
You could text.
You do that stuff, Don?
Text?
Text, yeah.
Almost never. My fingers don't work that well. I'm gonna sign off here and answer Gary.
The winners are?
Robert Blake, 1 vote, Dennis Michaels, 4, Kathy Weiss, 3, Zane Williams, 2. So Dennis Michaels and Kathy Weiss.
All right.
That's on.
Yep.
I
Yep, I
would make
think
a
so.
motion to approve Kathy Weiss and Dennis Michael as new planning commissioners effective April 1st. Correct?
Or at the first meeting.
Next
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Well, yeah,
At
I
their-
guess at the
okay.
next meeting.
There you go. That'll work.
Thank you for helping me through that one.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Clemish, second by Fox to approve Kathy and Dennis to be on the planning commission for the next 3 years. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So he didn't vote on that one, so that's a 4-0 vote because he dropped out.
On purpose or on accident?
Accident, I think.
Talking about me?
Yep, we
Yeah.
just
Are you there?
nominated you for a bunch of stuff, Don.
Your picture is gone.
I gave Gary the 2 names that I voted for.
Yep. And did you hear the results of that, Don?
No, I just got in on the end. You
So
said Dennis and,
Dennis and Kathy. So Robert
Okay.
Blake had 1 vote, Dennis had 4, Kathy had 3, and Zane had 2. So Dennis and Kathy will be our 3-year planning commissioners.
sounds great.
All righty. Item number 19 is approve the employee evaluation form. So this is one of the things that we're still finishing up on our employee handbook. Our old form was pretty short, and so Joe and I worked with the department heads to put together a little bit longer form. It was based on the sheriff form, a Lincoln County form, and our old forms. So it's 5 pages. And part of that's because there's areas for the supervisor to actually write comments, which are highly encouraged. And it goes through several aspects of employment, dependability, your initiative, your aptitude, ability to learn, written, oral communication, et cetera. There's a place to record any training they did, any training they're requested, a summary of their strengths, where they need improvements, any objectives met, and objectives ahead, and essentially an overall rating of the employee. There is a section for a review of policies, and there's a couple blanks there for specific policies for your departments if a department head wants to add those. So the employee has a response section, whether they've filled out the employee self-performance evaluation form, whether they agree with the evaluation, and if they don't, they can attach comments, et cetera. and if they are eligible for step advancement, which is part of that new salary matrix there. So if this is approved tonight, Steve Hawkins has volunteered to make this into an editable PDF, so department head could just type it in if they like before the evaluation. So unless you see anything glaring that's wrong or anything that needs to be changed.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On page 3 at the very bottom, under review of policies, it says drug-free workplace. How is Yankton County going to deal with recreational weed and medicinal weed?
Yep, and I went through and I read the employee handbook around medical marijuana, and we do outline prescription medications that are narcotics. So we do handle that already. When we do, or I'm assuming when rec is finally approved, the county's going to have to evaluate the standards that we expect. So certainly the ambulance operators and the sheriff's department, et cetera, and Mike's highway team, those are the three what I would consider really high-risk areas if someone shows up drunk to work. It's no different than showing up drunk with alcohol. We don't want them here, but we are going to have. Exactly, that's just it. It's the testing, and I have no answer sitting here today on rec marijuana.
Because I would think people driving big road graders and huge dump trucks would be a
Yes.
liability to the county if they were testing over a certain nanogram of weed, THC. I'm sorry, what?
If you talk to employers in Colorado, it is up to them. If
Yes.
they say you can't and they are free to drug test, if the county would make that decision, it's totally up to the county. And it could be across the board. It wouldn't necessarily have to be just
Correct. Correct.
certain departments.
Does that?
Well, I understand that, but I can't imagine the Register of Deeds deputy causing much of a bad outcome if he files it in the wrong spot versus I run over somebody with a road grader.
True, but it would be up to the county to determine whether or not you thought that that was appropriate. I mean, just like anything else, if you prohibit the use of it, even if it's legal, you have a right to do that. You have a right to tell them they could be randomly tested. So there's a lot you all are gonna have to.
What about the medical side of things though? Because my understanding with the medical is that
That would be different. That would be different.
so if they have a prescription, then it's
Correct. Then it would be more whether or not it would, because for example, even medical marijuana, if you have a prescription and you're found driving and you're under the influence, you can't do that. So you certainly could say, if you have a prescription for medical marijuana and you are in the highway department,
don't get in a wreck.
you can't,
You can't operate.
you can't operate.
It would,
Right.
yeah.
That's no difference if they got prescribed narcotics right now. You
Exactly.
can't have them running with that stuff. It's
Yep,
the same
that's
thing.
exactly right, Dan. So any other comments on this? If there's changes to be made, before I had Steve go through the effort of setting up the form, but there was only one person who commented on this, and that was Steve himself on a few things.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's great. I guess my only thought is it is pretty long with 5 pages. I understand you want to go in depth. Maybe we could combine a few of these, quality and quantity of work. It'd be nice if this was a few pages less is what I'm getting at. A lot of jobs require this much depth, but not all of them. Is there a way to consolidate on a few of these? This is a pretty long eval form.
Dan, I guess, I had that same opinion. It's long, but it asks a lot of good questions.
Yeah.
And I'd suggest that we give it a chance and see how it works. And, to get feedback from the department heads and then move from there.
So the department heads have already approved it. And if you looked at like our old form, it had quality, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It had quantity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it had the same topics. And so what this is doing is giving in a guidance, what is quality? So it gives the supervisor an idea. Totally understand it seems overwhelming at the time, and maybe there's something that doesn't apply to the position, and certainly they can say not applicable.
Yeah.
My past experience is kind of the biggest thing we have to deal with is the department heads will think we have the 120 best employees in the world, with a few exceptions. They'll all be ranked extremely high, and I think we need to be able to challenge that if it needs to be challenged. And I think we have that opportunity.
And that may be, I think some of what Sherry was getting at too, though, with the 1 through 5 rating. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a review type person. When my review time came around, I dreaded it. I thought it was kind of a waste of time, but I always did it. But it forces you to reflect upon both your supervisor and the employee, to actually reflect a little bit. Even if you try to put zero effort into it, when you have to write a response, you have to think something. The 1 to 5, you just circle a bunch of 4s and go about your day, and you probably don't even read the questions. So I think it merits at least to give it a year and see how it goes. The department heads seem favorable to it. They had input on it. We've looked at 4 or 5 different kind of iterations and ended up combining them. Ultimately, if the employee doesn't have to write a paragraph in each one of these things, and if the supervisor really feels a certain area needs more, they can ask for more. But if they feel it's sufficient, they sign off on it and we're off to the races. So
Is this the form that will be used if an employee has unsatisfactory performance? Because with the steps now, when somebody is not recommended for their step, that's going to have to be
their review should show it.
Well, but you, at the same token, you can't say, here's your annual review, you didn't meet the expectations, and then you're not gonna also, get paid more, get your pay increase. That's gonna need to be an eval. Hey, you're not meeting the standard now, and then maybe in a few months, you're still not meeting the standard, and then you're at your annual. You can go back and say, well, these last 3 evaluations, you haven't met the standard here, here, and here, and you haven't improved, and that's why I'm not recommending you for a step. What I'm saying we need to, and this is the same thing I brought up before, is the annual review can't be the first time you talk to a guy and tells him you're not getting your step this year. There has to be more documentation than that. You can't. So the department head can't, or who's ever supervising has to have that documentation.
Yep. So, and I think the department heads are very clear on that. At the very top, if you see there's an evaluation type, 3-month, 6-month, annual, or other. And so there is in our handbook an outline of how to handle employees who needs improvement. And if you look at the little asterisk in the rating scale, a rating of either outstanding, below expectations, or unsatisfactory requires comment of supervisor. So they do have to, forces them to have a plan and to identify it.
Are we going to use this form to evaluate the department heads as a county commission?
This is our general form for everyone right now.
Okay. So as a commission, probably also need to schedule a time where we do evaluations with all the department heads as well, because they're going to need that evaluation as well, because we're ultimately the one who decides if they move up to a step or not. So if we're expecting our department heads to evaluate all their employees, we should do that for the department heads as well,
No question about that.
in my opinion. So
Can I ask a question?
You bet.
non-elected.
That wasn't the question.
Okay.
I guess I'm questioning, for you guys to evaluate the head of the departments. How are you gonna rate their job level if you don't see them work?
Well, like conservation, who, I've met her and talked to her on the phone, but I don't know if any of the other commissioners have gone out and met. Has anybody met Sarah? Okay, so two of us have. It's real tough to evaluate her, for example. I know she's doing a great job because I just talked to her today, but yeah, it makes it difficult for sure. Or do we have the people she works with every day, write us up something, because she does work with Mr. Melhoff and Megan Brown.
I would think that if fellow workers had problems with their quality of work, we would get something much like the unsigned letter about the emergency manager, which we could put in their file.
Yep, I would agree.
Somebody's going to know. I'd move to approve the form.
Second.
I have a motion by Fox, second by Healy to approve the Yankton County Performance Evaluation Form. Further discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Drainage Board. So this will essentially just be an update where we're at. So we do need to go into Drainage Board. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to go into Drainage Board. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. We are now sitting as Drainage Board. So at our last Drainage Commission meeting, we did talk a little bit further about our drainage ordinance and some updates we would like to make to it. So in your packet, at the very top, it says the revision is changes from the March 23rd meeting to be discussed on April 27th. So that's our next Drainage Commission meeting. So everything is shown in red. I thought there was some blue here too, but maybe this is all red. Please forgive the page numbers on this one. For some reason, I can't change those. I'm not smart enough to do that. Did my best and I just kept deleting stuff. So if you scan through there, are there any concerns that that you are seeing? Probably, to me, one of the major changes being proposed is at the very beginning. 1.03, these regulations shall govern the subsurface agricultural drainage of water within Yankton County. 2 words were added, and it completely narrows our focus of water in the county. And so that's a pretty big narrowing of our focus, and the Drainage Commission supported those 2 words being inserted in there. So essentially what that is saying is we don't want to have just simply someone going out and moving dirt around, creating drainage that way. It kind of gets rid of the residential drainage concerns that sometimes there's a question whether we hear those complaints or not. So subsurface agricultural drainage, so essentially tile install in the ground.
So that means we can go out with a dirt scraper and have surface drainage everywhere we want.
Yes.
According to South
Okay.
Dakota law. yeah.
But that surface drainage is the whole reason we have a drainage ordinance to begin with. When those individuals came in and talked about it, it was because, surface drainage. And if we look at a lot of the drainage complaints we've had are all surface drainage. What happened with Randy Golden and Mike Barkle, that surface drainage. So,
And so,
and that would, if we're gonna do drainage, let's do drainage. And if we're not, we shouldn't do it. I mean, there is a lot of surface drainage going on right now too. And surface drainage can actually cause a lot more problems because the water flows a lot faster and can cause significant problems. I know it was brought up at the meeting where this was discussed. The reason drainage is a big deal here is what happened in Hutchinson County, and that was all surface drainage that
So
made
they-
that happen, so.
yep, so the drainage commissioners did give an example before I had gotten on the board that there was a farmer who wanted to install tile and he could not get the neighbor to give the easement to drain where he wanted to. So he said, nope, not putting in tile. He did all surface drainage instead and drained the water onto his neighbor anyway. And that didn't come before the Drainage Commission at that time. So today, all of his water is surface drained. So that's the issue is if you're going to have it, and we get back to the enforcement issue, are we going to enforcement? Do we want to enforce it? So that's kind of where that discussion come in. Now, if you look at most of the other ordinances, they all, for the most part, have agricultural drainage. Ours is one of the very only ordinances I read that had drainage of water, and drainage of water could be a garden hose.
And I guess, I'm sorry, Joe, I guess I wonder what are we attempting to do with this ordinance? Why are we attempting to even regulate tile drainage? As far as I know, almost every project has been approved, whether it's approved immediately or a couple months down the road. If it's always getting approved, I'm wondering why we as the county just don't get out of this altogether. And at the meeting we had in Sioux Falls, that was what was recommended by those attorneys and a lot of counties have gotten rid of their drainage ordinance in the last few years because, I guess I'm trying to wonder, what are we trying to do with this ordinance?
So I think to make the statement there that if they're always getting approved, why do we go through the motions? Many of these have several meetings where they gather the information and they force the conversation for the easements, et cetera. It's not just they come in, you stamp it and they go. Technically, you could kind of make that same argument on CUPs in the county. Why do we have CUPs if we approve them all? Because I can't remember a CUP that came before us we didn't approve. So that argument to me is, again, we're having people come in, we go through easements, trash, access, et cetera, and it forces the conversation about the project. And the other thing that I think the Drainage Commission is very for is the notifications. So that neighbors all know the drainage project is going to happen. And sometimes they jump in on it. And sometimes they just say, fine, great, go ahead. So again, there was, and I can't remember, Dan, if you were at that meeting where we took public comment. There was nobody who got up that I recall who says we need to get rid of this. Most of them were, this is a welcoming place for people to come in and air their, if they've got differences, their ideas, whatever it is, versus just going to court. But again, the Drainage Commission said they've always just focused on tile. And so I think their insertion of the word subsurface was to put in words what their actions are already doing. And whether we leave it in there or not is up to us. Joe, go ahead.
just a couple notes, Dan, on some of the things you brought up, like the below 52. That, to me, that wouldn't be a drainage project. That was impeding flow of a vested drainage, right? And we don't want to be involved in any of that. I don't feel, as a county. There's avenues already to mitigate that. As far as getting rid of it altogether, you know, we kind of had that discussion and put it out there, and it seemed like it was fairly overwhelming that people wanted to keep it in some fashion. And I guess, to me, if that's the route we want to go, then we need to make these changes, or make certain changes to make it work. If, you know, down the road, these still just aren't working, or they're causing problems, and we, you know, evaluate getting rid of it again, I guess. But there's certainly liability concerns, and, you know, why is the county sticking their neck out? I guess, to me, the answer was people want us to, so we need to do what we can to clean this up. That's my thought. And then there are some advantages, whether the ordinance is a acknowledgement of a project by the county, or an approval of a project by a county, maybe two different matters. But either way, I think there are some advantages, especially with notifications, getting, you know, rather than one person putting a piece of tile in an entire area that really should be tiled, seems to be working a lot better today than it did before this ordinance was enacted. And then just having the board go through some of those projects and identify potential issues, is, you know, it's a good process.
Any other comments or feedback?
I have one.
Yep.
Are we taking recommendations?
Yes.
I don't even know what section. It's off the top of my head, but where we require easements prior to the application, I believe that should just be changed to written note or written permission. Whether someone wants to file an easement or not is on them. I would say 95% of the projects that have been done haven't had easements filed on them, because the letter given to them to file the easement that isn't illegal, it doesn't meet the legal requirements to file an easement. So I know they're not getting filed.
So I'm trying to forecast what the comeback would be from my fellow drainage commissioners, and what happens when I'm draining on you and I've got an easement to do that, and you sell your land to Dan, and Dan says, no, I'm ripping your tile out. I think that's what they would come back with, is it's to protect the next generation
Right.
owner.
And that's where so me as let's say I'm putting in a tile.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, if I'm okay with you just giving me permission,
Okay, so you're
that's
saying,
on me.
okay, so if you want to take the risk, fine, you go for it. And if you want to cover your butt for the future,
Then you
you
should
better
ask
get the
for the
easement.
easement,
Okay,
yeah.
I can
And-
take that back to them.
And part of the reason I bring it up, like I say, I know they're not being filed with registered deeds anyway. So
Okay.
I think the number of drainage commissioners, instead of a specific number, I think it should be appointed, a number determined by the county commission. Because I know at times we do have trouble finding people willing to serve, because it is a challenge. And that gives flexibility to commissioners down the road. Maybe
104.
drainage will get really important and we'll want more or less. So I would think, Yankton County Commission shall appoint members to the Yankton County Drainage Commission instead of an actual number.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you giving a little feedback because I look for our next meeting probably to be done with the changes that are going to be proposed. And then we will start through the hearing process at that point. So just didn't want to have it on your plate and then there'd be needing many changes. So thank you. And I would entertain a motion to go back into regular
While
session.
we're on the
Oh.
drainage board, I have gotten some complaints about a drainage project in Walshtown Township. And apparently, somebody's filed a complaint and they haven't been allowed their hearing. So I feel that it's necessary for us as a drainage board to review that drainage application. And if we could do that at the next meeting, I think that would be warranted.
Okay, I'll talk to Gary about that.
We would need 2 weeks' notice, but we should be able to make the first meeting in May for that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so now I would entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
I move that we go back into regular session.
Second.
Motion by Fox, second by Clemish to go into regular session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are now in regular session. We are at public comment. Would anyone care to make a public comment? There being none, public comment is closed. Commissioner updates.
Go ahead. Lynn.
Well, excuse me, Dan and I and Mr. Vetter had the opportunity to have a joint meeting with the city. Amy Leone was not there and Ross Dedher was not there. Dave Mingo was there and Mason Strong was there. And we had some discussion on the amazing shortage of housing in Yankton, how there are properties that would be available to be platted for lots. However, the owners aren't apparently inclined to do that at this time. We also discussed the marijuana, medical marijuana and the recreational marijuana that is or may be coming. And the state apparently has not been very giving as far as information on how we're going to do it, how many licenses will be available, how the licensors are going to be divided up, whether it's going to be a lottery, liquor license type of application. So that's all still in the works. However, July 1 is about a week and a half away. So we need to get on that.
And Wanda, correct me if I'm wrong, the city predicts they'll get about 3 licenses, I think was the number. Was that what they were? 2
to 3.
And according to Dave Mingo, they're not going to go through a zoning process. It's basically going to be a process similar to a liquor license, but it's going to be restricted to certain zones and so far from schools and things like that. But
Schools, churches, parks.
The 2 to 3 is, are they projecting that the city may limit it to that, or they're thinking the state is going to allow this population size to have?
The state is going to allow the population size to have 2, potentially 3. And then we also talked about out in the county, how like Vollen, Mission Hill, Gayville, Lesterville, Utica, any organized governmental unit would be able to, in theory, have their own weed dispensary.
It goes all the way down to town.
I'm sorry?
Well,
that was the rec. It went all the way down to township.
Yep, that was the one being
recreational.
challenged.
But,
So they also have some restrictions on who can sell medical marijuana too. It's not just Sherry Los can get a pot shop going and, so there's, this stage of it is at least a little narrowed, whereas the next stage of it is a little more wild.
Well, and the city wants to make sure that we as a commission don't allow too many weed dispensaries too close to town, because that would adversely affect their sales tax.
Dave also mentioned Yankton, the city of Yankton is doing it differently. A lot of the other municipalities and counties he's talked to are going through a zoning process to do it. Yankton had chose to go a different route for various reasons.
Without getting into all kinds of discussion on that, I would recommend that maybe we put this on our agendas towards the end for discussion as time allows, and then maybe start having it at planning and zoning.
I think it should be a standalone ordinance so that if everything goes poorly, it can go away. And if everything goes well, we can do it much quicker as a standalone than we can do it as a zoning
agree.
ordinance.
Sure, adding on.
Looking at Article 5 as an example.
And the reason I think, and you said too, I mean, it's a week and a half away. July 1st, if you start the clock ticking now and we had an ordinance ready to approve, we've got a reading at planning and zoning. We've got 2 at the county level.
You can't do it without special meetings.
There's
I
right.
penciled it out. You can't do it without
Public-
special meetings.
Publications and then notice. There's just no way we would have anything by July 1st.
So,
Well, and we don't even know how many, if any, licenses we're gonna get.
Right,
Maybe they're
that's-
all gonna fall within the city of Yankton. We don't know.
and so it was also suggested possibly putting a moratorium until the rules are written at the state level, which will be expected in September. So that gives you breathing room. So those ideas are still being kicked around. I did talk to a couple districts about those. So, but tonight's probably not the night to
Yeah.
really vet that out. So other updates.
No, I think that was a very good meeting that Wanda and I attended, and like she said, marijuana. The city did send us, is it their 5-year master plan? And there was discussion on ETJ and possibly them incorporating more of that. But what I was most surprised with was their willingness to work with us on a sanitary district. That was a very good conversation we had. And it was unbeknownst to me, but there has been oversized lines ran out in the area of Highway 52 and north of that. And they were very receptive for us to at least start the conversation of looking into a sanitary district. And I think that's encouraging. And I believe that's something that we need to pursue with the city, more to follow. In addition to our meeting, was at the commissioner training. It went pretty well. Gary was there as well. Sherry showed up.
Mhm.
Housing is an issue all over
They
the
did well, Brett.
county, all over the state.
Didn't make any difference. It was 5-0.
I do have some information. I attended a James River water meeting. The good news is we are unlikely to have major flooding this year. And here are the stream flows projected from Jamestown, if any of you guys want to take a look. That is all I have.
We have ditch board meeting tomorrow at the 4-H grounds in Vermillion for anybody interested.
Yeah.
Noon, right? 1.
One.
Okay.
Well, I'd rather have them be there at noon than,
That'd be the
and
earliest.
it be at
ever.
1 and at 1 and it be at noon.
Any other updates? At this time, entertain a motion to go into executive session for poor relief pursuant to 125-2, 2813 and 2813 1.3, and a personnel issue for 125-2 subpart 1.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to go into executive sessions for poor relief and personnel. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
So how does Don participate?
I'm not going to be an active participant. I'm going to join the meeting when you guys come back.
All right, thank you. Entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Move to come out of the executive session.
Second.
I have a motion by Fox, second by Clemish to come out of executive session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve $1,250 for burial costs for case 1 and case 2.
Second.
I have a motion by Clemish, second by Fox to approve $1,250 for burial 1 and also $1,250 for burial 2. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to give the chair authority to approve burial requests per recommendation by our indigent care
I would like to,
coordinator,
Not to exceed 12.
not to exceed the set amount of $1,250.
I would like to amend that to include and that those would then be brought to the next meeting.
So we'll add that on the end. Are you good with adding that
Yes,
on the end?
Yep.
Would you second it?
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Healy, second by Fox to give the chair the authority to approve burials per recommendation by the indigent care coordinator, and then to bring those to the following commission meeting for commission review. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And then I'd like to make a motion to advertise for temporary employment for VSO, Veteran Service Officer for Yankton County.
Second.
I have a motion by Healy, second by Clemish to advertise for a temporary veteran service officer for the county. Further discussion.
Second.
Pardon? Oh, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Items for next meeting.
I think marijuana ordinance should be just be on there, right under Article 5, probably.
Like to discuss, the county's plan for long-term housing. I think it's something that we need to, discuss and
Article 5.
Okay.
Would the housing be more suited to the strategic planning meeting?
Well, our discussions with the city, I think it'd be important for us to look at our GIS layers and overlay what the city's 5-year plan is and have a discussion on, well, this is the city's plan and what do we want to do?
Right.
From what I'm hearing from the community is that housing is a huge issue. And there aren't many lots available out by the lake area, so we need to make housing accessible, both in the city and the county. It's an option that we have to do.
Sure.
And how we do that, I don't have all the answers, so.
What
But
are
I'd
you
like
here
to
for
discuss it.
then?
Yeah.
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Fox, second by Clemish to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.